So this is episode 46, I believe. We're coming up on the big 5-0. So we're back where we left you guys. You had gotten out from under the pyramids, wherever that was, and you now have a new friend, Lottie. You don't know very well, and things haven't gone so well otherwise. Thaddeus is still kind of somehow dragging Natalia's corpse along through superhuman force of will, but how much longer he can do that, who can say? But when we left, we were outside the pyramids. You guys were like somewhere heading up that sort of dried up riverbed.
What time of the day is it? Or was it nighttime?
So you guys went down. I'm trying to remember when you
went.
went.
In the morning.
Yeah.
Like early.
Right. So I think you've been down there. Oh, I'm gonna say it's still daylight, but the sun is going down.
All right. As they start walking back, Thaddeus kind of dragging Natalia's corpse along with them, probably making just furrows in the dust with her feet. She is thinking hard about what they're gonna do. She's gonna try one more time to get Thaddeus to come to his senses. She turns around and says, "All right, Mr. Pepin." And she walks up to him so that she's not just broadcasting, this really loud because it seems kind of private. Look, when we get into town, you dragging along Nat there, there's gonna be a lot of questions. And it's gonna attract a lot of attention.
Well, of course, until she sees a doctor, everybody's going to be looking.
Look,
kind of shoot her a glare.
Yeah. Speaking of looking, Dad, I hate to be this way. I mean, you seem like a good enough guy, but she's gone. Look at her. Really look at her. I mean, if you can't see what's going on in a body, look her in the eye. That spark, it's not there anymore.
I don't need to look at her. She's right here. She's very much alive.
What makes you think that?
And he'll stop for a minute and look at Natalia. Don't listen to them. You'll be just fine. We'll get you help. We must hurry.
If he's not coming to his senses, Maxine will just shake her head and look around. So if we continue around this riverbank, are we going to hit the road eventually?
Yes.
Okay. She'll walk up to Lottie. Look,
and Thaddeus needs help with the body. Like, he's seriously slowing you guys down.
He's, we can't go into town like this, she says to Lottie.
Lottie's been kind of staring over the Sphinx and the sands, and seems like she's been putting some stuff together, and she kind of snaps to Maxine. It takes a look back to Thaddeus. You're right. I can't hold back with her there. What can we do then? I can't keep out here. I can't leave her. I can't leave him.
Yeah, we can't. I guess it just doesn't feel right. Look, this riverbed, it's gonna intersect with the road up ahead. What we need is a truck. And she says, hey, Evie, I know you ain't too fond of us at the moment, but you need to get somewhere too. And Mr. Dahabi, uh, he needs help. You willing to go into town and help us get a truck?
Uh, he looks irritated, but like willing to do it just to get you to leave him alone. Like he says, "Fine, I will perform this one last service for you, and then that will be all. Promise me you will leave me alone after this."
Hey, I barely know you, and I'm grateful for everything you did, but if that's what you want, that's what you get. I mean, totally. Look, she starts digging around in a purse. You think you can get somebody, I don't know, how much? We either need somebody who's not going to ask you any questions and drive us, or we need to just buy a truck outright. How much money do you think that's going to take? And she just starts digging through her purse and pulling out, some wads of cash that are rubber banded together.
You want to buy a vehicle at short notice? I don't know.
It don't have to be fancy. It's just somebody's farm truck,
It won't be fancy. £100, perhaps.
Do I need to make a credit check to see if I've got
that
in there?
Do you have?
I'm sure she would. She's pretty well off, but
Yeah.
it's just whether she has it with her.
Yeah, you probably do, but that's gonna set you back. Like that's. Well, you would have had to bring a fair amount of money to travel, so yeah, you probably liquidated some things, and so yeah, you could afford that, but it's gonna crimp you.
She looks over at EB and at Lottie. You got any other ideas?
I've got nothing.
You seem like you're about to give out yourself. All right. I guess Mr. Thaddeus can get me back later. And she pulls out a bunch of money and says, look, I'll help Mr. Dahabi get to the edge of the road up there, where the riverbed meets it, and you meet us there with a truck. And then we'll drop you two off wherever you want to go.
It will take some time. I have to get into the city, find it. It will take hours. Where will you be?
We're just gonna keep making our way that way. She tries to remember if there was any landmark or if she remembers anything that would have been a place to meet. We kind of got to stay out of sight until then.
Well, you can certainly kind of make your way through the. It's not exactly desert; it's green, between the pyramids in Cairo, but really, you probably will just want to hunker down somewhere. There's got to be some
just
like
we'll hunker down somewhere
farm or
near the
something.
road.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there would be a farm,
And
you could hide
it'll
out
be
in.
dark soon, so yeah, we'll just something like that. Just we'll just keep headed toward the road and jeez. Well, we still got this lantern. Look for us as once you have the vehicle, drive slow. Look for a lantern in the dark, and
He says, look, I'll find, we're almost to the road. I will find you a farm you can stay at and go get a car.
all right. Oh, that'd be good because they probably got water. I'm about dying.
He just shakes his head and goes off.
Wow, she says, looking at Thaddeus. That guy's a real crab.
I imagine everything was a shock to him. It's tried warning him before, but he'll look over and tell you again. You feeling okay?
You think he's gonna run off with my money?
As long as the hobby is here, I don't think he's running off anywhere.
Yeah, well, you never know how deep a man's loyalty is until he's put to the test.
When it comes to religious figures, they're pretty deep here.
She nods. Well, let's keep moving while we're walking. And she kind of puts herself under the Hahabi's arm to kind of help him along.
Is anybody helping Thaddeus?
Lottie is not. She's just watching.
All right, then
Very
you're not. I
disgusting.
mean, yeah, Thaddeus.
Well, then we're
Thaddeus,
just going to have to wait.
Yeah, Thaddeus is kind of. He keeps running out of steam and just has to stop. And I assume, Thaddeus, correct me if I'm wrong, he probably just sits there with a faraway stare while he catches his breath and then picks back up again. Almost as if he's not aware of the time passing between halls.
Yeah, no, he's fixated on one or two things. That's so definitely when he stops, he's not paying attention to anything else around him except for Natalia at the moment. And catching his breath so he can help her along.
A short way into that, Al-Dahabi actually kind of steps forward and takes one of Natalia's arms and starts helping you carry her along. Kind of like drag her by her feet, or one arm over your shoulder. He's got another arm over his shoulder, and you two just kind of drag her along.
Thaddeus would notice this. Thank you. It was getting kind of troublesome. By the looks of them, they always say she's dead, but she's very much still alive.
He doesn't
Maxine.
acknowledge. He just keeps going. Sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, we're probably going at an actual snail's pace.
Yeah, it's very slow. And eventually, EB, you don't even know how much time passes, but the sun is almost down when EB comes back, and he says, "Come, I found a farm. For a small amount of money, they will take you in and keep their mouths shut."
All right. Oh, that's perfect. I'll lead the way.
Yeah, so he takes you there and gets you settled in. They speak no English, of course. Yeah, but they seem, it's a husband and wife, and they have 2 little kids. And they just, they seem a little, like, in awe of the bunch of you. Like, they're very curious about what's going on, but don't ask any questions. Not that, they assume you can't understand them anyway, even though Lottie can speak Arabic.
Lottie will not. She'll stick to English.
Yeah.
Mostly just overhearing them
Good
just in case.
idea.
Yeah. And then EB heads off.
Does he take El Dahabi with him? Or is he going to get the truck?
No, he's going to go get a truck.
Okay, good.
Maxine will make like drinking motions to the farmers or the people who are here. See if we can get some
yeah,
water.
they understand. Sure, they'll bring you some water. That's easy enough.
I'm sure we're about as thirsty as we've ever been.
And they feed you, of course. I mean, that's part of the whole ritual. They if they're taking you into their house, they have to feed you. So they feed you. And the little kids just sort of like stare at you wide-eyed. They don't really know what to make of you. And Lottie, you hear them asking questions to their mother. They seem afraid to ask their dad any questions about you. And the mother just keeps telling them to be quiet and go play or go do their chores and stuff like that. They clearly don't want to get too involved with you.
Lottie's very respectful when she kind of eats, but she seems absolutely just wrapped.
So, now that we got a chance to catch our breath, you want to give us your story in long form?
Lottie rubs the back of her head. She's still, one moment. And she kind of tries to gesture in terms of for a shower or a bath or anything. 'Cause she's a mess.
Well, there is, there's like a creek you can go wash off in. They don't
And
have baths.
yeah, Lottie kind of looks to Maxine. Before I go over any of that, I need to feel a little bit like myself again. I'm going to venture to the creek nearby.
Max looks down at her torn dress and her bloody side. Yeah, wouldn't hurt to get some of this washed off. Mr. Thaddeus, you don't want to leave Nat there to clean up a little, do you?
And you would look over at Daddy. He's giving Natalia some of his water. No, I'll be fine. I got to keep my eye on her.
Jeez. All right, let's go.
Right.
Are you trying to stay awake? So you wash off. You're all exhausted, every one of you. Are you trying to stay awake or are you falling asleep?
I think Lottie, after getting back and just being clean in a comfortable space, finally. Maxine, a lot of time a story, but maybe in the morning I haven't had a proper rest in quite a while.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm pretty tuckered out myself. Listen, you ain't overheard anything suspicious? She kind of like darts her eyes over at the family.
Lottie just shakes her head. No, the children are asking questions and such, but Mum's saying just to go and play and do chores and such.
All right. Well, I guess I can't stay awake forever. Has the old man eaten anything or drink anything?
He takes some water when you put it to his lips, but he's not eating anything. He seems very out of it. He doesn't really make eye contact with you. He doesn't acknowledge you. The only thing he did of any initiative at all was when he saw Thaddeus dragging Natalia along. He sort of instinctively just helped. But other than that, he's been almost catatonic.
All right then, Lottie, you make yourself comfortable. She goes over and tries to get Hahabi to drink some more, or maybe takes a moist cloth and wipes off his face. You get some sleep now, and she'll just kind of pantomime sleeping to him.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, he certainly lets you, wipe him off, but he doesn't respond to anything.
Yeah. Yeah. Man, my grandma was like this when I was a kid. I hope he snaps out of it.
I don't know if he will. He might. I do hope so. But not gonna bank on it or nothing.
Well, I guess we gotta count it a blessing that we all made out of it alive, and then to see what tomorrow has in store for us.
Lottie nods and looks back over to Natalia and Thaddeus, and she kind of whispers over to me. I'm assuming the two of them were together. It's why it's so hard for him to let go.
Hey, they said not, but To be honest, I don't know him real well. I kind of got that feeling myself, to be honest. I definitely, I don't know if there was anything official, but there was something.
It's pretty heartbreaking to see this. Not looking forward to the next few days, depending on how long he's gonna hold on to her. It's not gonna be a pretty sight, unfortunately.
Wish I had some whiskey. Seems to be the only thing that might lure him out of this. He's quite fond of it.
I have a bit of a whiskey stash, unfortunately. I think it was confiscated. I'm not sure what happened to it all.
Yeah, I bet. Listen, Mr. Pepin, why don't you try to get some shut-eye? You're not going to be any good to Natalia if you're dead on your feet. And then she kind of grimaces at the phrasing.
I'm sure it'll fall asleep eventually, but right now she needs more tending to.
Look at her. She's sound asleep. You should get some sleep, too.
Yes, well, that's the funny thing about sleep. Sometimes it's not sound.
Well, I'm not your mom. I can't make you do anything. Apparently. All right. Hopefully I'll see y'all in the morning.
Right.
You all have a good night.
So I assume Thaddeus is not sleeping or trying not to sleep.
Yeah, he's gonna definitely try not to sleep.
Okay. You can attempt a constitution. Actually, everybody try a constitution check. Thaddeus to stay awake, everybody else to heal after your exhausting day.
Nope.
Everyone fails. What a surprise. So Thaddeus, you're not sure exactly when, but you eventually doze off. And nobody heals anything at this point. So Thaddeus, I'd like you to make a sanity check for me.
Oh my god.
Okay. All right.
This?
You actually sleep a fairly untroubled sleep, surprisingly. And when you wake, it is morning, and Evie is there, looking sullen. Lottie, make a luck check for me.
Oh.
Or I mean, Maxine. Sorry, it was Maxine. It was Maxine that
I was so excited.
you were so excited. He found a truck, not a great one, but there is a truck sitting outside. It is serviceable. He even returns a little bit of the money to you. He said he kind of reluctantly says he talked them down a little bit, and he returns the difference to you. He says the only thing he asks is that you get drop him and Aldahabi at the hospital. And
Yeah, sure.
then you can do whatever you want.
You just point the way. I mean, it's not like I know my way around, but we can for sure do that. Sheesh. All right. Well, thank you, she says to the farmers, even though they don't know.
They don't know what you're saying, but they can tell you're being nice. So the wife just kind of nods and makes kind of a hand gesture of graciousness.
Yeah, Max will leave a little bit of extra money there, and
that softens the husband. He doesn't look very happy about this whole arrangement, but the money does kind of change his demeanor just a little bit. He gratefully takes the money.
Is there anything in the truck? A blanket or anything? I'm trying to see what can we do
Sure.
to cover up
Yeah.
Natalia.
Yeah. So there's some old canvas in there. We'll say.
All right. Back to relative civilization,
Or
maybe.
burlap, more likely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Uh, Mr. Pepin, why don't you get Natalia in the back of the truck and cover her up, get her out of the hot sun.
Yes, it's a great, wonderful.
EB helps you with the body.
I've got to drop her off at the hospital too.
And I think to Thaddeus's maybe surprise, EB gives Natalia's forehead a little, like a respectful kiss as he puts the body down.
Thank you, DB. And he'd look around. We just need to get back to the hotel, but we get somewhere to doctor. The hospital's too dangerous.
Look, Thaddeus, the hotel's less dangerous than the hospital. I mean, the hotel is more dangerous than the hospital. They know where we're. I mean, they're gonna be pissed off. We need to get our stuff out of the hotel. Is what we need to do.
Yes, we will, but I fear that. Well, if you think they don't know where they're at or where we will be, it's a falsehood. They know exactly where we're at right now. I'm sure.
Yeah, well, I doubt that. I mean, it's been what? They had a few guys on us. They came inside the pyramid. We killed them. And so they weren't able to report back or anything. And it's not been enough time that maybe people would come looking for them. I think we got a window here if we hurry.
Well, where do you suppose we go?
I don't know. We need to.
What we need to do is go after the Clive expedition.
I think we's going to need us another Drago man. Well, actually, hey, maybe not. With Lottie here, she speaks Arabic. You won't.
I can guide you around as best as I can.
You planning to stick with us?
Why are you my life? I ain't leaving you behind, and just so I don't really have my passport or anything like that. Like I said, pretty sure Clive has it. Or they burned it, I don't know.
Alright then, so first thing, we go to the hospital. We drop off the sick ones, and then we'll go get the stuff from the hotel. And then we kind of decide where we're going to go from there. Thaddeus, if you really insist on staying with Natalia at the hospital, then give me a room key and I'll get whatever you say is the most important stuff from your room.
Well, and he'll kind of reach through and here's the key, and then I guess we'll just meet back up after you get the stuff and Natalia feels a little better.
Yeah, unless you just want to leave her in the doctor's good care and, hang with us as we get the stuff out of the hospital. They might not let you stay with her anyway.
We'll find out once we get there. But you could go to the hotel. I'll stay and figure it all out.
Jeez. This ought to be interesting. All right. So I guess they take off, head to Cairo,
Okay.
following whatever directions EB's given.
Yeah, so I assume you'll drive, EB will be in the cab with you, and everyone else is in the bed with the bodies and people, as it were. So yeah, you drive. I'm not really quite sure where the hospital is, but I'm sure it's got to be somewhere down near the center of Cairo, where all the wealthy people live. So, at least the good hospital. I'm sure there's other one, small, poor folk hospitals, clinics, and things. But yeah, he takes you there, and he helps Al-Dahabi out and that's kind of it for them. They head in.
Max looks over her shoulder, kind of into the bed of the truck. So, you sure about taking that in here?
And he kind of looks down. What do you think, Nat? Should you go to the hospital or should we go to the hotel and see if the doctor can meet you there? He kind of stares at her for a minute.
She doesn't. Well, actually, what does she say back? Voice of Natalia.
Uh, back to the hotel room.
Yes. We'll go back to the hotel room. We'll get a doctor there. After that, I'll need to talk to the ambassador that lives there as well.
Yeah. Oh, wait, who's it? Has Maxine seen the ambassador, the American ambassador?
She hasn't. I don't think she would have. I think she probably would have wanted to avoid officials, don't you?
Right. She might have seen them talking to him, but I don't think she would have talked to him.
Right.
I'm just trying to figure out if she knows who he is.
Mm-hmm. I'd say it's fair that she would know who he is, but she probably never spoke to him.
Okay. All right, let's do that, and me and Lottie will go in, and you stay out here in the truck with Natalia.
Now, how was the doctor see her in the truck?
Well, if you bring her into the hotel, probably the bad guys are gonna nab her.
They're not gonna nab her. She'll be fine. We just
No.
need the doctor to see her.
No, I insist. Let us at least go in and scope the place out. I mean, in her condition, you don't want her to be walking into some kind of a trap.
Yes, that would be a good idea. I suppose. I'll get her ready to go up while you guys go look.
Had Thaddeus already given Max his key to the room?
I believe he did, yes. Earlier.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right, then. Just be patient. The doctor may not even be in the hotel. We'll figure it out.
Oh, I don't think the doctor would be in the hotel. We'd have to summon him like we had before.
I'm pretty sure he lives in the hotel.
That's not where he came from last time.
Yeah, it is.
I seem to remember there's some travel time, but oh well, nonetheless.
Yeah, you're confused. Very confused.
Okay, so what do you end up doing?
Max will drive the truck up to the hotel,
Mhm.
and she's going to ask Lottie if she feels up to helping her carry some stuff out.
It's up to us. I'm going to be sure.
So, keeping her head on a swivel, she'll just, kind of park the car, leave the keys in it with Thaddeus, and she's going to walk into the hotel. Probably go to Thaddeus's. Well, she'll go to her room first, and
Okay.
she's not going to grab everything. She's going to grab whatever's most valuable, and definitely her forging equipment, her passport papers, and everything.
Mhm.
That's like, in her mind, the most
Yeah.
important thing to pick up.
Sure.
And then, if that goes well, over to Thaddeus's room, and she knows they had special books, and there had been a mention of the headdress, so she'd probably rummage around and look for that. And
Okay.
that's probably whiskey. She'd take whiskey and the laudanum that was in the room.
Okay. There you go. Yeah, you don't
Lot-
have any trouble.
Lottie's gonna ask Maxine, hey, got any guns up here?
Oh, we got some other lady left a shotgun here.
That might work.
I think we might have an extra pistol around. I'm
Ah,
not sure.
pistols
Yep.
are for small people. No chance.
Maxine grins at her. Yeah, well, All right then, big girl. Here you go. I think it's over in the corner.
She goes over and grabs. She'll look over to find the headdress. She'll have her hands on it, a free hand. This is fascinating. Where'd you get all of this stuff?
Oh, I don't know. It came from some cult leader magician guy. It's creepy. It's got all them eyes on it. Looks like it's staring at me. I don't like it. You can keep that.
I'll just make sure to study it. She stares at it for a little while longer before.
It looks like a genuine ancient Egyptian article.
Wonderful.
It looks quite old and surprisingly well preserved.
So, find a suitcase she can handle, an extra suit for Thaddeus, a change of clothes, which she probably already grabbed for herself in her room. Something for Lottie. Max would have gotten her something because she's closer to Lottie's size than Natalia. The books, Natalia's notes, the headdress, whiskey, laudanum, the weapons, any extra ammo, Shelley's journal, which actually Max already had, any spare money.
Mm-hmm.
And she'd pick up at the last minute, she kind of goes into Natalia's room and she picks the nicest dress she sees there and she packs that away to dress Natalia in.
Maybe that blue one that she wore to the Blue Pyramid Club.
Whatever catches her eye is, this is the nice dress.
That's definitely the nice dress. Otherwise, Natalia doesn't wear dresses.
That's right.
And with that, she'll head out the hotel, head back to the truck. Oh, before she goes out, she mixes some laudanum into the whiskey.
Ooh.
To one of the bottles, anyway.
Okay.
And,
yeah.
Do we make it back to the truck without incident?
You're on your way downstairs with some stuff, and you see there's a little bit of a fuss in the main room. Thaddeus is hauling Natalia through the lobby, and the concierge is arguing with him that he can't bring that in here and it should be disposed of properly. And you can see he's trying to handle it delicately.
Oh, good Lord. Listen, Lottie, do you think you can get this stuff out to the truck on your own?
Yeah, I can do that. And she will, as best as she can, put as much as she can under her arms, on her back, that sort of thing. And kind of hustle out the door, trying to squeeze past people, being unnoticed as possible. Maybe when they're all like turning their backs or something, just slip behind them.
At this point, Max is going to stand back in a corner and observe how this plays out, because she can't. Coming forward makes her complicit in whatever's happening. She figures she's got a better chance of extricating him once he's somewhere else.
Yeah. Oh my.
The scene just made me laugh. I just could picture it.
While this is going on, Max is going to look around for that ambassador guy and see if he happens to be around.
No, he's not. Well, actually, make a luck check. If you're super lucky, yes. It's unlikely. Nope.
No.
So Thaddeus, what are you doing?
He's as he gets in, and everybody starts fussing and telling him you can't bring that in here. He's definitely gonna try to persuade him that she just needs a doctor, and I assume the conversation would be going on as everybody was staring at him.
So they're tactfully trying to convince you to take her to the hospital. That they can't do anything for her here,
Nonsense. The doctor could come to our room.
and they'd be happy to fetch someone to help you take the body out if necessary. They obviously want to get the body out of here as fast as possible. People are starting to look. Other guests.
He would just keep telling him she needs a doctor. Whatever the doctor says that comes to the room is what they'll do. What he'll do.
Yeah, and Lottie, you can see that the man behind the desk is whispering to the manager, who and the manager is telling him, "I think it's time to call the police."
Lottie is going to continue to slip outside and put the things in the truck before coming
Okay.
back in.
Yep, she does that, and Max is just trying to stay out of that sight. Okay.
Actually, she's going to. Sheesh. Oh man, there's nothing she can do. Not really. She can't convince Thaddeus. She's already tried.
Yeah, he doesn't. I think it's obvious he's not convincible.
Yeah. So she's just gonna stand back and see how this plays out. If the police take him into the station, or if he gets put in a straitjacket. Like what the heck happens here? She's trying to figure it out.
So finally, Thaddeus, they sort of seem to relent and say, "Well, let's get her let's get her to your room then." And they have one of the Egyptian servants, one of the bellboys, who looks absolutely appalled, but it's clear he's going to lose his job if he doesn't. The manager has some stern words with him in Arabic. He comes over and helps you take the body upstairs.
Excellent.
And you can see the manager's just trying to calm everybody else down, and he's explain he actually tries to explain to them that that it's not a real body. It's a wax replica, and that you're a famous American waxworks person. He's trying to conjure some story that the people don't seem to be buying too much, but he's trying to pass something off, because you can tell it's creating quite a little scandal. Well, Thaddeus can't tell that, but but Maxine can.
So they head up to Thaddeus's room.
Mm-hmm. That's where they're going.
Yes, and then when they get there, he would ask for a doctor to be summoned and the ambassador to be.
And you can, and Maxine, you hear the desk clerk calling the police.
Yeah, Max is gonna at that point hurry out, go to Lottie, and say that she thinks they need to go over to the American embassy.
Sure.
That dang fool. He's really lost it.
I can't imagine losing someone like that. Someone you care about, but maybe we can get him out of hot water then, if the American embassy is going to help.
Okay, so you head over. It's pretty much across the street to the American consulate, and Frank is in.
Who I've never met.
Yeah,
but
you've never met him, but he's got two nice-looking women walking in looking for him. So he kind of his demeanor kind of brightens up, and he says, Frank Knatsford, pleasure to make your acquaintance. What can I do for you?"
Yeah, Max's accent changes a little bit. She smiles widely, and although she's dressed appallingly, no, she changed. She did change. So she looks a little better. She holds out her hand and she says, "Yes, I'm Maxine, and I'm staying, of course, at the hotel, and I'm a friend of Mr. Pepin's, and I'm afraid that
Oh,
Mr. Pepin,
another friend. Yeah, lucky Mr. Pepin.
well, we're not that close. But you might be acquainted with his friend Natalia.
Of course. Yes, I know her well. Well, not that well, but we're acquainted. Let's just say.
Well, it appears that Mr. Pepin has run into a spot of trouble. Um,
Oh no.
he he and his friend were apparently attacked in some way, and Natalia is no longer with us, but he's out of his mind. He can't face it. He's dragged her.
Wait, what
A-
do you,
And
wait, what?
she starts to fan herself and kind of like
He says,
tear
"Wait,
up
wait,
a
wait, wait,
little.
wait. Slow down a second. What did you did you say? What did you say about Natalia?
She's she's gone. Oh, it's such a sight.
Gone as
You
in deceased.
she she's deceased, and he's dragged her body up to his room. And
And Miss Franken, is she all right?"
oh, I never met the woman. From what I understood, she left town last week.
He kind of frowns. All right. This is so. So there's a dead person, Ms. Vescovia, I think her name was.
Yes, the victim of some
And
sort of attack.
what kind of attack? About
Oh, I don't know. I, I just I saw Mr. Pepin entering the hotel and caught a few words with him, and he wouldn't listen to me, and I immediately headed over here. But I'm sure the police are on their way.
well, I should go
He
and speak with him then.
Oh,
The
please.
the, the police are on their way. You said. Did he summon them, or
Oh, I I I think that the hotel did, because he's just so overcome. He doesn't believe that
yes,
she's
yes.
deceased.
He kind of stops for a second and he says, I see. It sounds like I should get over there right away. You're welcome to stay here if you wish, or you can come, obviously. And he gathers up, gets his jacket.
Max fans herself again and says, "It's all a bit much for me. I'll stay here with my friend Lottie. If if you can manage to extricate Mr. Pepin from the situation, well, I think we both would be in a great deal of debt to you. He's proved a good friend to me in the short time I've known him."
Of course, I'll do my best. And he he heads out.
As he leaves, Max pops gum into her mouth. Suckers. One's born every minute.
Lottie kind of looks over to Maxine, gives her a bit of a smile. Ah, well, you played him like a fiddle there, did you?
He seems like a nice enough fella. Probably would have done it anyway, but she shrugs.
Gotta get into the
People
dramatics.
So let's summarize what happens over at the hotel here. The police do arrive. So does Frank Nasford. They sort of get there around the same time. And Nasford kind of speaks to the police and he's able to kind of buy some space, and he comes up to the room to talk with Thaddeus. And he kind of knocks, and I assume Thaddeus has just kind of got Natalia in a bed, kind of tending to her, as it were.
Yeah, and he's also got himself one of his bottles of whiskey that was up. He's of course been started drinking it.
Okay. So there's a knock.
Enter.
Frank comes in a little tentatively and just kind of looks around and sees in the bedroom, and again kind of comes in with his hat in his hand, and he says, I understand there's been a bit of a tragedy.
Yes, as you can see, Natalia's been hurt. Hopefully, the hotel has summoned a doctor.
He comes over and takes a look, and you can see he kind of gets a little sick to the stomach as he's looking at her. She's quite a sight at this point. And he says, well, what do you want to do, Mr. Pepin? The police are downstairs. They're wanting to know what we want to do about this. I understand that you've been attacked, and I'm here to do what I can. He seems a little tongue-tied.
It's quite simple. We just need a doctor to come up and look in and tell. It's really very simple. And he takes a drink of his whiskey.
I think I can get a doctor here. Didn't you have a doctor that came to
Yes.
before? I think that'd be a good idea. What was his name? You remember his name? Maybe you can tell him. So he says, "Sure, of course. I'll go and fetch him. You stay put."
And Thaddeus would take another drink. Yes, certainly. And he'll go over and start writing a note down as Frank would leave.
And incidentally, while he's been sitting with her, he noticed that there's a rumpled, kind of blood-stained letter in Natalia's waist that she kept it somewhere. I'm not sure where she kept it. That would be up to Natalia. But you find this old letter.
He would of course he wouldn't read because he does remember them talking about a letter before, and he would include it with his note. He would fold it up with it.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And then he would, of course, drink his. Once he gets done writing his note, it's very short. He would fold it up, and of course, there's nothing you could do to seal it. Nothing. I don't think he has any correspondence envelopes. He would also just sit down and wait for the doctor to come while drinking his whiskey.
Okay. And there we go. So yeah, the doctor does come back with Frank in a little bit. And the doctor takes a long look at, well, actually not that long, look at Natalia. And he turns to you and he says, I'd like to take a look at you if I could.
Well, that's not me I'm concerned about. That's Natalia.
Yes, I understand. We'll take good care of her.
Well, that's good to hear.
He says, but I'm going to have some people come and take her to the hospital where we can provide better care for her. But I'd like to take a look at you. You look like you're a bit banged up, eh?
I assure you, I'm fine. It's So my friend, she's absolutely really hurt. How long do you think it would take? Well, and he'll stop and he'll stare at her. She can't go to the hospital. It's not safe.
Oh no, she'll be quite safe, I assure you. We'll keep watch over her. It's really the best for her, sir. Have you had much sleep lately? You look a bit exhausted, if I may say.
Yes, I did have a little bit of some shut eye, I guess you could say. A little overnight last night.
Oh, excellent, excellent. He kind of takes a look at Frank, and he motions two Egyptians to come into the room. He says, "Now, if you'll be so good, they're going to assist her downstairs."
Well, would they? And they kind of look around. Well, then I go with her. I would assume.
Well, I'd really like to take a look at you first. I assure you, you'll have a chance to see her again soon.
I kind of look over at Frank. Well, okay, I guess that'd be fine. Maybe.
Frank puts a hand on your shoulder, kind of comforting. He says, "It'll be fine, Mr. Pepin. You have my word. Everything's going to be all right."
And sit down a little bit. Okay. Well, I guess I could go there afterward. But first, take this folded paper and with the letter inside. Will you see before I get too preoccupied with anything? Will you see all this reaches Miss Mabel? It should be in New York at my company headquarters.
Certainly. He gets out a little notepad and takes down the name and of course, I'll see to it. You don't have to worry about anything, Mr. Pepin.
Excellent.
Why don't
That's
you let
kind
the
of
doctor take care of you, and then we'll figure out how you'd like to proceed.
All right. Well, you look over at the doc. What do you think? What you want to look at?
He just wants to look over your bruises and cuts, and he gives you a little something. He says this will help you rest and aid in the healing process. He says I recommend you take it twice daily.
Okay. What is it? He's looking at whatever he's giving him.
Yeah, it's he says it's a mixture of my own. It will help you rest.
So I should take it before I want to rest. Then is that what you're saying?
Well, I think you should rest as much as you can right now, sir, until your body is in better shape.
Well, of course we need to go to the hospital first. I assume that.
Well, yes. Frank says the police will be wanting to have a few words with you. I've asked them to give you a little time to rest, given your condition, but they're going to want to speak with you about Ms. Vescovia.
Well, can't they do it at the hospital?
I suppose they could. I'll speak to them.
No, very well. If it must be here, I guess it could be. But as you can tell, the time is of an essence.
He looks at you rather quizzically, and the doctor kind of puts a hand up to Frank, and he says, "No worry, your friend is going to be fine. She's in good hands now. You don't need to worry anymore."
She may be in good hands now, Doctor, but I assure you, I can't explain it, but there's never really safe hands.
Oh, I assure you, no further harm can come to her.
He kind of looks at him quizzically. Twice she's been hurt so far. Do you think that it would be far out of the reach for her to reach her at the hospital as well?
I give you my word, sir, that she will be well looked after and protected.
I hope so. I hope your armor guards. I hope you trust them. I hope whoever they are.
Oh, yes, implicitly. You needn't worry, sir. It is very important that you get your rest and recover,
All right. Well, then I guess we'll talk to the cops and.
both in mind and body. He smiles.
I'm
Yes,
sure
yes.
my mind is as sharp as a tack.
Frank says, well, do you, do you want to speak to the police now or wait till tomorrow? I'm sure I can put them off a day.
Uh, and I kind of look at the medicine, look at the doctor. She's in good hands, you say?
Oh, the best, sir, the best.
Well, I guess we could wait till tomorrow. I'll try this medicine out and.
Excellent. Well, he says, I've done what I can for you, but I'll come back tomorrow and check on your progress, and we can go from there. He turns to Frank and he says, we'll leave you then. Will you be all right by yourself?
Yes, I should. That should be fine.
And Frank says, there's apparently a couple young ladies waiting. Do you want me to send them in? They're at the embassy. They're friends of yours, I take. At least one of them is.
He kind of open his bottle to whatever the medicine. Yes, if you want to send them up, that'd be fine.
All right. And he says, Doctor, in motions the doctor, and they go out of the hotel room.
They just would sit down and kind of a little bit of a relief knowing that Natalia's in good hands, and he would drink whatever he's supposed to take with the medicine, maybe a little more since it's supposed to. His thinking would be to expedite the healing,
Yep.
and then finish his glass of whiskey with it.
Okay. Frank does come back to the embassy. Are Lottie and Maxine still there, or have they left?
I think we're still here.
It's been about an hour.
Lottie's
think-
gone out to check on the truck a few times just to make sure.
It's okay. Yeah. There's a little bit of a commotion downstairs at the hotel. This was kind of an exciting event, a little scandalous. You're sure there are going to be stories going around of various flavors. The police are there, but you see Frank talk to them in the lobby, and they don't look very happy, but they accede to whatever he's asking of them, and they leave. And then you see him cross the street and come back. And he looks a little weary, and kind of rubs his forehead a little as he's coming in, and he says, your friend Mr. Pepin's in a pretty bad way, I'd say.
Oh, any luck getting him to come to his senses?
No, I'm afraid not, but the doctor gave him a pretty strong sedative to help him sleep. He says he's hopeful that with a little rest he'll come around. He says he thinks he's just still in shock from whatever happened. He says, speaking of which, the police are going to want to know details about, how a dead body showed up, especially in the condition it's in.
No, I'm
I
certain they will.
I put them off for a day, owing to Mr. Pepin's condition and his status, but they're not going to want to wait too long. I didn't tell them about you yet. I wasn't sure that was a great idea.
I appreciate your discretion, Mr. Nasford. I would really prefer not to have my name dragged into all of this if I can avoid it.
Well,
My reputation, you understand.
he says, I'm holding off for now until I get all the facts, but you understand if you were involved in anything criminal, it's my obligation to
Her eyes
share it with the
widen.
police.
Criminal? Me? I'm a respectable woman, Mr. Nasford.
He puts his hands up apologetically. He says, I'm not saying you did anything wrong, but we have a dead body here, and it's in bad shape, and you're all a little banged up yourselves. And so far, I really don't know anything about how this happened, so I'm just making a statement so you don't, make false assumptions about my role in all of this. I like Mr. Pepin, and I liked his Natalia and Miss Franken. They were fine people, but I have a job to do too.
Well, I understand. I can't give you any particular details about Mr. Pepin's little crusade. I know very little myself, but I assure you, he's a man of honor.
He smiles. He says, "Crusade. That's an interesting way of putting it. That kind of makes some sense. I still don't know what he's crusading on about, but yeah, he's got an air of the crusader about him."
Lottie kind of taps on to Maxine. Hey, mind if I ask you a question there, Maxine? Just really quick. Apologies, Lottie McDonough. Where's the bathroom?
Nasford, he puts his hand out to shake yours.
She shakes it as well, as firmly as she sees it, but it's probably fairly weak.
Oh yeah, he's expecting kind of a weak handshake, so he's not being very firm himself. It's more of a gentle, and he just says, and how are you mixed up with all these folks, if I may ask? Oh, the restroom, sure. Well, such as it is, there's a latrine out back there you can use. I apologize. It's not very ladylike, but it does for us gentlemen.
That's worth something. Maxine, you might accompany me. I don't like going alone.
Oh, of course not. Will be just a moment, Mr. Nasford.
Of course. I'll be here.
As Lottie's kind of leading Maxine outside in hushed whispers, so you ain't telling him nothing.
I suspected that we was involved in something criminal. He can see we're banged up. Might as well give him the impression that, whatever we're involved in, it's something respectable at least. And actually,
I don't know about
kind of the truth.
I don't know about you or what you're involved in. I've been underground for quite a while. I ain't involved in any sort of back-ended deals or any such nonsense. What I've been doing is legitimate. At least everything I thought.
Listen, I'm sure you're right. I mean, you seem like a real respectable lady. But no offense, you're neck deep as far as involvement goes. I mean, we ain't doing nothing criminal. It's the criminals that doing things to us.
I ain't been doing anything neck deep. I was sanctioned. I was part of a specific expedition to go into Mycerinus.
You was involved with the Clive expedition, and as far as I can tell, the Clives are part of that whole Penhew Foundation. And the Penhew Foundation is involved with this cult that stuck you underground under the pyramid. Capiche?
So why aren't we telling him about it? I don't understand.
Because we's in Egypt. And the guy, Ashakti, is this rich, powerful guy. I mean, I don't know. You got an accent. You from Ireland or something? I'm
Yes.
sure that America and Egypt ain't the only places in the world where money talks and criminals walk.
Lottie pinches her brow and Shakti, I remember that name. He's arsehole, that one.
Yeah, he thinks he's like some sort of immortal god type figure, real egomaniac. Anyway, I never met the fella, but
Oh, I
he's
did.
probably the one that had you put under the pyramid.
Oh, no, I did. He questioned me on what I knew. Also interrogated me and tortured me. So you can understand my frustrations.
Yeah, I mean, justice, right? We all
Aye.
want justice. This, well, it wasn't necessarily the Al Shakti fella, but, this Dark Brotherhood, whatever they call themselves, they killed my brother, Frank. And I ain't gonna rest until they're all in the ground.
And then what we need to do right now is after this, and hopefully after everything's sorted, because I don't know if they're gonna come looking for me again since I'm out and about. If I get my name out there, it's not gonna be good. But we need to find the Clive expedition.
Yeah, that was kind of my thoughts.
Right away. They're Clive's doing something horrible. He's working with the I don't know if it's his brotherhood that you're talking about, but they perform some sort of magics. I don't know. They're lifting the sarcophagus. Uh, the apparent queen in Mycerinus. That's how they found me.
Was they all bad news?
I I don't think all of them. No, not all of them. I mean, some of them are a bit more off-putting in the expedition themselves, but it's really only two of them that I followed. She kind of scratches her chin.
If we got close, did you have any friends that, well, you'd trust enough to talk to?
Maybe Gardner. He wasn't too bad. And just some of his theories, I think, are proven right. But that's a talk for another time. We should head back inside. It's getting a bit suspicious. I
Yeah, well, I guess so. I guess, dang girl, we gotta get some. I need to pick your brain. You know so much and haven't had a minute to really talk about it.
seems you know much too. I have an idea. It's bordering on the truth, bordering on the false, but I think it'll at least lead them in some direction. Let's go back.
All right. I'll let you lead the conversation then.
Sure. Lottie'll head back inside from the area.
Yeah, while you've been gone, you see Frank has been typing up something, but he stops, and he says, I trust it wasn't too primitive for you." Smiles a little strained.
Better than what I've had lately. Just and she actually will kind of pull up some of her sleeves, and I'm assuming she has deep kind of bruises and cuts on her wrists.
I think you were missing fingernails.
Oh yeah. Her fingernails are blackened.
Mm-hmm.
She kind of shows this to Frank.
He looks duly horrified, and says, what happened to you?"
I understand it's a bit shocking, and I think Maxine here wanted to save some face for me, but fortunately for me, unfortunately for Miss Vaskovia, a few weeks ago, I made the mistake of traveling off alone. Made the mistake of being a bit too far away from other people when lights were getting low in the sky, and I got taken by some men. Not exactly sure who they were. I knew they were Egyptian.
You can see his face darken a little when you say that.
I could hear him speaking Arabic, and Lottie, she seems a bit more emotional at this point. She's mostly telling the truth from what's been happening.
Mm-hmm.
They tortured me for a few weeks.
Tortured you for what?
I don't know exactly. They kept yelling at me and said that I knew something. I didn't know what they were talking about. I didn't know. And they were, I don't know what they were going to do to me, but
He looks at Maxine. Do you know anything about this? He's looking very confused now.
mm,
This is Lottie's story, and it's after what she's been through. I'm leaving it to her to tell. She's been violated in so many ways. I think she deserves to tell her own truth.
Well, first things first, I apologize if I'm incorrect, but you don't sound American to me.
no.
Yeah, I'm afraid this is an American consulate. I can really only help American citizens here.
I'm not expecting you to help me, Mr. Nosford. I just want you to get an idea of what's happened to
Well,
Miss
I
Vescovia.
do need to get some sense of what's exactly going on here. So far, I have a bunch of random pieces of information that aren't really.
Then, if you
adding up
let
to
me
anything
finish,
meaningful.
Mr. Nosford, then you can get a bigger picture.
All right then, go on. He lights a cigarette.
I don't know exactly where I was. Don't know exactly where they were leading me, but this is where she looks to Maxine, where I was actually found by Thaddeus, Natalia. They helped me escape. I had a bag over my head. I didn't know exactly where I was. I think Natalia was mortally wounded in the scuffle. I don't know exactly what they did to her. It seemed awful. And
He's jotting this down. Still looking
they,
quizzical.
Thaddeus and Natalia, I think they took out the rest. They removed the bag from my head and uncuffed me and were able to get me back to safety. I can't say where we were. I was severely dehydrated and tired.
I'm sorry to interrupt again, but all this talk of bags over your head and you don't know where you were, none of this explains what's going on or why any of this is happening.
I'm saying
I
is,
don't understand.
what I'm saying is Natalia was mortally wounded and attempting to help me.
And who mortally wounded her? That's what I. And he turns to Maxine. Do you have any? Who saw her die? How did she die?
Mr. Pepin would have to fill you in on the details.
So you weren't there.
I was at the pyramids touring, and I saw them as they were exiting, and
You saw Mr. Pepin and Ms. Nescovia exiting a pyramid together, alive.
well, they didn't come out of the pyramid. They came out of the desert, and they seemed afraid. I helped them to arrange travel back to Cairo.
And what's your connection exactly to Mr. Pepin?
Friends from the hotel.
All right. And it sounds like you. What was your name again, Lottie?
Lottie
Miss
McDonough.
McDonough. It sounds like you don't really know Mr. Pepin or Miss Nesgovia before whenever this bag was taken off your head when you were
No.
abducted by some random Arab men in the desert when you wandered off alone. So really none of you know anything about what's going on. That's what I'm hearing. You don't know
Mm.
why you were abducted. You just know that these people found you and helped you get back to Cairo. And you, he points at Maxine, you just know Mr. Pepin from the hotel, and you just happened to be there when he and Natalia came wandering out of the desert and helped them get back to Cairo. So I'm not really sure how this adds up to anything. So you're saying Mr. Pepin is the one I need to be speaking with. Neither one of you
Well,
saw neither one of you saw the murder.
I didn't. Well, I do know Mr. Nasford from hints Mr. Pepin's given that he's that there's a criminal element here in Cairo that goes pretty high up the food chain, and he's looking into things. For instance, that massacre at the temple.
Why? He puts his hands up like he just is at a loss. Why would Mr. Pepin care about what happens in some Arab mosque? I don't understand any of this.
Well, from my understanding, is he underwent some personal tragedy back in America, and that this criminal element spans continents, that there's a connection.
Okay. And he somehow thinks that an incident involving some inmates at an asylum or somehow connected to something that happened to him in New York. You can see his face is looking quite strained in incredulity. He says you're aware that Mr. Pepin is not really in his right mind right now. Yes?
I
He
I am aware of that.
thinks that Ms. Nesgovia is still alive, or Vescovia is still alive.
Look, I don't know Mr. Pepin all that well. He seems a very good man, but it is possible, I suppose, that I misestimated his mental state.
Yeah.
That this crusade of his might, I don't know, perhaps, and it's fortunate for Lottie that whatever white slave traders he ran into, they were able to recover her, and
Yeah.
maybe that was just the coincidence that this delusional man was in the right place at the right time.
He says I understand neither of you know Mr. Pepin very well. He's since he arrived here, he's not he's been caught up in a few strange things, and I don't really quite understand why, and I've been trying to help him since he's an influential man back home, quite frankly. But I think his little safari is going to have to come to an end.
Oh,
I'm going to recommend
yes.
that he return to America as soon as possible.
I think that's probably wise.
Yeah.
Well, I hope you can see, at least from the results, and she kind of gestures to Lottie, that his intentions, whatever his mental state is, are noble.
Sure. But frankly, it's his status that's going to get him out of this one. He smiles. He says,
Uh,
I'll have a word with the British authorities here, and I'm sure they'll have. They may not be happy about it, but they'll let him go home. And I think this whole thing will blow over.
what's the best way to arrange for travel? I can perhaps take care of his arrangements.
He says, I really don't mind doing that. I think it'd be best. Um, he says, I do think it would be beneficial if you two could, well, come up with some more credible story, something that the police can get their heads around as far as explaining Natalia's death.
Well,
They're going to want to have a word with you, I expect. Although, if you'd prefer, I'll just never mention your names.
Would be preferable.
I don't want to expose this dear girl to anything more traumatic than she's already been through.
And he looks rather pointedly at Lottie and says, I assume you're willing to let the whole abduction thing go. You don't really want to talk to the police about that, am I right?
No, it's quite embarrassing. I'm sure my compatriots have been looking for me. I should be getting back to them.
He kind of smiles and nods like he understands. He says, yeah, I think it'd be best all around for everyone if we just, well, I'll tell him that, it looked like the doctor said it looked like she was torn apart by a wild beast. I think that's the story I'll tell the Brits. And, it's left Mr. Pepin rather shaken that he needs to return home for his health, both mental and physical. Well, I don't suppose there's anything else we need to say then. He stands up.
No, there's not.
I wish you both luck in your future endeavors, whatever they may be. Now, if you'll excuse me, I've got some things to attend to. It's going to be a busy couple of days. And he smiles.
Yes. So, will the police, you think, take him in, or will they come visit him at the hotel, Mr. Pepin?
If all goes well, they won't visit him at all.
Oh, well, good. That would be best, I suppose.
I think so, under the circumstances.
Max gives a smile and holds out her hand. Thank you so much for your help and for your discretion.
You can always count on me for discretion. He puts his hand out and kind of takes Maxine's.
And she'll kind of look to Lottie, like, are we done here? And then Lottie does know.
Lottie, she nods and, it's good meeting you, Esther Nosford.
He doesn't say anything, he just kind of smiles, but it's a strained smile.
She turns around and heads out the doors of the embassy.
As they exit, does Lottie have anything she's gonna...
She kind of rolls her eyes. Damn Americans.
Yeah, well, I can't really blame him. So if he's able to get this all tied up with Thaddeus, I don't know, should we risk just trying to get him out? Get out of here?
It was always the plan anyway. Just getting him out, and unfortunately we're not going to be able to call upon the embassy or anything like that, but I'll be able to get Mr. Pippin out, and maybe... Are you sure you really want to be diving into this?
She laughs. I'm already, well, like I said before, if you're neck deep, well, I'm up to my eyebrows.
The only reason I'm neck deep is because, well, Clive has my necklace and some of my other possessions. I kind of want them back.
Took your jewelry. God, that's low.
Oh, I left it in my tent. Didn't know I'd be abducted and beaten.
You got a man back home waiting for you? Is gonna be worried?
No, I don't have a man or anything like that. Unfortunately, the men sometimes find the intelligence a little bit off-putting.
Yeah, it's a better to play dumb, that's what I found.
Sometimes, unfortunately, well, in my line of work, it's hard to play dumb. But I mean, press that you can. No, I'm not saying that as an insult.
That's alright. I've been called worse than dumb. I guess we'll see if Mr. Thaddeus is willing to leave the room. You want to go in together, or one of us stay in the car?
I can stay in the car, and if you want to sneak him around the back, see if you can get him out without anyone noticing.
Yes. Yeah, I'll see if I can get him out at all. That man. If he wasn't so rich, he'd be dead weight.
What you need to tell him is that Natalia's being treated, but you need to go after the people who did this to her. Not just, those things in the darkness, right? You need to go after the source. Not really the source, but at least some of the people we can actually see still.
Yeah, all right. I'll give that a try. And as it's dark, Max will try to make it into the hotel without drawing too much attention.
So you're gonna wait till dark?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, yeah. So you wait a couple hours then, or at least like 3 or 4. Okay, so it kind of gets dark. You go into the hotel.
And she'll go up to Thaddeus's room.
Okay.
She's just gonna unlock it and go in because she's got his key.
Yep. The door is locked, but you unlock it and go in. He is asleep at the moment.
She's gonna go over and shake him. Mr. Pepin, Mr. Pep.
He wakes up, but he's groggy.
Yes. He kind of looks around. Where's Nat?
They took to the hospital. Remember?
And he kind of sits up in bed a little bit and swings his legs over. Oh, yeah. I do remember. And he kind of has a sad look on his face. She's not good, is she?
I'm gonna put it this way, Mr. Pepin. At this point, the best thing we can do for Natalia is to get payback.
Yeah. He kind of looks down. Will you hand me that whiskey over there?
No, I'll give it to you in the car. Come on.
No, I can't leave yet. And he'll stand up.
You can leave. You can leave right now. Because if we stay, then you ain't gonna have a chance to get payback because you're gonna be dead.
Yeah, we are already dead. If you think about it, it's just borrowed time. And he walks his way over to get his glass of whiskey. What I need to do is sleep off whatever this is.
Keep it off in the truck. Come on.
I'd have to wait for Frank as well. I have to make sure that letter gets sent out that I gave to him.
Yeah, well, Frank said he's got it. I was talking to him.
He'd take a swig.
Mr. Pepin, I can understand if after seeing all the things we saw and what after happened to Matt, you, your balls are kind of shrinking back up into your body and you kind of sit this one out and you're turning yellow. But if you're out, you're out. And you tell me now, and I'll stop bugging you. You can just stay here, and you can cry over your whiskey, and I will go get payback for Frank and for Nat.
Yeah. Finished taking his drink of whiskey. Well, payback would be nice, but right now I just need a moment. Who's? He kind of look. Do you think that they'll be able to kill me in the middle of the night?
Yeah, I do. But, even if they can't kill you in the middle of the night, they'll kill you tomorrow. And it's a lot easier to sneak out of here at night.
Well, let them come. Again, if you want to go scanted off and find these people, or if you can, like I said, I need some time. It's and I lost a lot of people in my life. And I need to process Natalia being gone.
You just want to die. I think that's it. You're just done. You
I,
think held that door for you to lay down here and drink your whiskey and be a useless sack?
I think Frank held the doors so that we may live and try. Well, and I think that, well, the torch still carries. Right now, I feel like I have a headache, and I'm sad because my friend is dead. And I would like to sit here and drink some whiskey while I think of how I'm going to explain to her daughter how their friend dead in a letter, because it's going to be a long time before I see the shores of New York again.
Oh, did I mention that Frank's sending you back to America? And if you stick around here, you're going to find your ass on a boat tomorrow.
Dad is kind of a little smile. I'm rich. If I don't want to go on the boat tomorrow, I don't go on the boat tomorrow.
Yeah. You think so, huh? How about the rich man wakes up on the boat tomorrow?
Yeah, they'd have to drug me.
Yeah, they would, wouldn't they? She looks over at his whiskey.
Well, I'm pretty sure my whiskey is not drugged.
Well, you know what? I'm going. I'm going to Memphis. I'm not hanging around here to die. And I'm going to get payback for Nat and for Frank. And you know what? For you too, because you stick around here, you're dead. And that's all there is to it. So goodbye. Good luck. If you see Frank or Nat on the other side, you say hey for me. And she kind of knocks his whiskey onto the floor and heads out.
Mm-hmm.
And Thaddeus would look down at his whiskey, kind of rub his head, and go to the door. I'm assuming she slammed the door shut, or did she just leave
She
it
didn't
open?
slam it. She just left. Just walked out the door.
Thaddeus would go and secure the door and pour himself another glass of whiskey and go sit down in his chair. And he'll sit down and take a big old drink. He'll sit there and think for a moment. Too many have gone. Maybe I can't do this. Take another drink. And pull out his pistol. Well, let them come. They don't have power over me. I'm not scared. In fact, maybe if I'm gone, it stops. Yes. And then he'll go over and write down another letter, kind kind of getting his feelings out about being sorry about the Savannah's mom and stuff, knowing that Frank might do the right thing, give it to the Mabel as well. Kind of fold up neat and put a whiskey glass on it, and he'll say Frank on it. And then he'll lean back and take a deep breath. And he'll put the gun up to his chin and pull the trigger.
It's Max within. Does she hear the gunshot? I'm sure actually everybody hears it.
I would say, yeah, it's not loud, but yeah, I'd say she would hear it.
I mean, she's halfway expecting it. I think she's kind of at the door of the hotel, heading back over to the truck.
I'd say she's just gone outside, so she can hear
Yeah.
through the window. Right? She hears the sound from the window up above.
And she knows very well what the sound of a gun sounds like. She turns and looks up at the window. She presses her lips together tightly, shakes her head. Godspeed, Mr. Pippin. You say hello to Frank and Nat. And she looks for a second, and then she walks slowly at first, and then with more determination back to the truck where Lottie is. Opens the door, sits down in the cab next to her. Just kind of stares out the windshield for a couple minutes, or 30 seconds, or until Lottie breaks the silence.
Yeah, she look at Maxine, but quizzically. No, Mr. Peppermint. Just us.
Yeah. It's alright. I think he kind of reached the end of what he could take. He was a good man.
It's understandable. I hope he gets back to America safely then. Lottie starts up the cab, turning it on. So, shall we go to Memphis?
Maxine turns to her, and the corner of her mouth quirks up a little bit, and even though her eyes look sad. Yeah, Memphis, we got this.
We do. And she puts it into gear and pulls the truck away from the curb, driving away from the hotel.
And scene. That's it.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, that is
Yes.
so sad.
Oh my god, that he is.
Yes, his time is done.
No. Oh my god. That's so
It makes sense. His
It
sanity
does.
was down to like 24.
Yeah, I was so low. I mean, Natalia's gone. Shit.
Frank, Natalia, Shelley,
Benjamin.
Benjamin,
Alice.
Alice. Yeah, there's a trail. He was the last original.
R.I.P. Thaddeus.
What's going to be interesting is when Shelley sends letters to the embassy for Thaddeus and Natalia.
Oh no.
But Max knows about it because she's got the journal, so they might be able to get the letters, but they're all going to be addressed to Thaddeus and Natalia because Shelley won't know.
That's right.
Oh, I'm sad he didn't read the letter there, Thad.
He well, he knew the letter was for Savannah, right? So he just wanted to tuck it in there and just in case something happened.
I think it would have been worse if you read it.
I mean, he he just figured he'd give it to her and then have like I told Darren what the letter that he wrote said, and it said the kid gets it all if I don't return.
Oh.
and hold on to the letter until it's the right time, or I come get it.
Oh.
Yeah, that sets things up for
It's
Cthulhu Hunters next generation.
when everyone's dead already.
Well, Svetlana will be like the rich, half crazy.
My mother left me. My father left me. My pseudo dad left me.
But I
had
must
this
know
flashlight.
why.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
We'll do a Big
Well-
Brother moment here. I can't fade it out, but I can make Thaddeus disappear from the wall.
well, it's been a nice long run. And Darren, I thank you for the long campaign.
Yes, indeed.
I'll watch in eagerness as Thelma and Louise there continue on.
Well,
Oh
that
boy.